Spin that shit.
How do these things start? Do you know?
I don't know. What like it's stupid. Like who do we talk to? Are we like?
Okay.
Are we?
Okay, so this is
Take 2.
well. I guess it's still
Spin that shit.
okay. So this is a new podcast
Yeah.
that probably no one's ever
No
gonna
one's
listen
gonna
to.
ever hear this.
It's called,
I won't even listen to it.
Probably not, right?
No.
It's called You Should Watch, and basically each episode. Don't steal other people's stuff. Each episode, I recommend a movie or TV show, and then Chris recommends a movie or TV show.
Yes, that the other wouldn't necessarily like.
Or have even seen.
Right.
And then we have to watch it, and then we just come back and talk about what we thought of it.
Right.
So, for the first episode, I picked a movie that I have watched many times.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's
Never
really a
seen
brag.
it.
I know you've never seen it.
it.
It's probably shouldn't be a brag because it's not the greatest movie, but I love it.
Haven't. Have you seen the original?
The TV show?
It wasn't a show.
It was a
movie.
TV. Oh, anyway, shut up.
It's fucking your pick.
Well, yeah, but the movie's great, so shut up.
Okay.
It is the movie
Okay.
Shaft, starring Samuel L. Jackson, with Christian Bale, who plays a very racist character. But we'll get into that when we see it. But anyway, I've seen this movie. I don't think I might have saw it in the theaters when it came out.
Did you really?
Or very soon after, and I've seen it many times.
Your
And I
dad
quote
took you
the
to see
movie.
Shaft.
He might have.
Dad took me Shaft.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Him, this
but-
little kid.
But not only is it Samuel L. Jackson, this movie is probably Samuel L. Jackson at the most Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
So you're in for that.
Right.
Christian Bale,
He's cool.
Jeffrey Wright, who's a very good actor.
Who is he? Why do I not?
He was in Boardwalk Empire. We've talked about this
before.
But I know this is for people who might be listening to this. So
No one.
you never know.
No one's listening.
We might get a listener.
We're going to make it big. We're going to be like the podcast in Tusk.
We might, yeah, maybe.
We're going to have posters behind
Possibly.
us.
And it'll probably be big in Australia. I feel like all podcasts are big in Australia.
Like, I think podcasts only play in Australia.
Good day, mate.
Good day, Bobby.
Okay, so that's my movie for this first episode. And now, Chris, what did you pick?
I picked a movie called A Serbian Film.
Right.
So, for those who don't know, A Serbian Film is a really fucked up movie. There's a lot of really terrible things in it. One of them, actually, I think I told you this. When I was at work, this lady is like, she loves horror movies. I'm like, oh, you should check out Serbian Film. And she's like, oh, okay. But I'm like, you know what? I take that back. You probably shouldn't watch it. It's pretty bad. She's like, no, I can take anything. I'm like, well, okay. So I write down 2 words on my paper, and I'm like, come here, just to read this part, and you'll know if you want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote down actually, it's 3 words, huh? Yeah. Newborn porn.
Right.
Right.
So
she didn't have that. She wasn't having it.
Which, I mean, I really like this idea for a podcast.
Admittedly, like, I'm not into that either.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I feel like I got the short end of the stick this episode.
You did. You got shafted.
I did.
Oh,
well played.
Zing.
Which brings us to the reason why I picked Shaft, because basically when Chris came up with the idea for this podcast, the first thing he thought of is, you have to watch Serbian Film.
Yeah,
because he's been trying to make me watch it for a while, so then I'm like, okay, well, he's going to watch Shaft, so we can name
Which
the
is really no big deal.
Right, no, but this way we can name the episode.
Right. A Serbian Shaft, which is great.
Which makes sense, because I've never seen Serbian Film, but I've heard tell of certain parts, and I feel like it's fitting.
Right.
So,
if I could just get you to watch Serbian Film, whether it's through doing a podcast or paying you, I'm going to be happy.
Okay. Hopefully this will be a paid gig at one point.
Yeah.
Just log on to Patreon.
Yeah, we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com.
Give us money. No one will hear this.
No one. Don't ever listen.
So these jokes are for no one other than us.
Yeah. This podcast is going to mostly consist of inside jokes that we'll have to spend most of the time end up telling you what they mean, which probably won't be that funny.
Right. Probably not.
So we'll probably keep it to the inside jokes to bare minimum.
We'll try.
Right.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of one right now.
No,
and I'm kind of blanking.
They don't force it.
Right.
All right, so I guess that's pretty much it.
Well, did you want to tell them, our loyal listeners,
yeah, all of them,
all of them,
uh-huh,
about what we wanted to originally do? The hockey and...
Oh, yeah, that was just a joke, because I would love to do a podcast about hockey, because that's what I love to talk about, but Chris doesn't really know much about it.
Because Chris collects action figures.
Yeah, so I said I will learn all about action figures if he learned everything about hockey, but
and
I don't think that's a good plan.
I admittedly know a decent amount about hockey, not enough to do
No, not on a
day-to-day.
Like, if I asked you right now, what do you think of the ramifications of USA losing in the opening round of the World Cup of Hockey, what would you say?
Oh.
That Tortorella probably wasn't the right coach, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, he's bad.
So, hockey will probably come up, because I have some ideas for future movies that involve hockey, so...
Miracle, huh?
It could be.
It's Miracle, because you've been talking that
Miracle's
shit up
definitely probably one of them. But
good.
Let's not spoil future podcasts.
Okay.
And I think that pretty much sums up the first half of the show.
I don't know. How long do we have going right now?
I don't know. I don't know how this thing works exactly.
It doesn't really say.
No. There's no signs of it slowing.
No.
The rowers keep on rowing. But
that shit's fucked up.
I
like that movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Even as a kid, I didn't even know how fucked up that movie was.
I watched it recently. It's still creepy.
It's still fucked up. I have it on Blu-ray, like this big box set. I just didn't watch it. I'm playing with my cup. They're probably hearing that.
So all of them, all the listeners.
Yeah, everybody. Sorry, everyone.
So we're gonna go
Patreon
at You Should Listen.
Yeah.
/Patreon / Give Us Money / /Shaft. And then so we're gonna watch our movies and then record the rest of this at some point, and then
we will be back.
We'll be back. Bye. This episode is brought to you by regular old mattress stores. You really don't need to get them delivered to you.
Did you say regular?
Yeah, regular.
They said, no, keep it going. Don't stop.
Okay.
Mattress stores.
Yeah, just the regular ones.
Just go buy a mattress. Don't have people come to your house.
It's not that hard.
They're just mattresses.
It's just mattresses. Okay, back to the show.
Back to the show.
Okay, so we're back. We watched our movies.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start talking about it. We're gonna start with
who goes first this time?
We're gonna start.
It
no,
no. It's here. Okay.
We're gonna start this week with Chris's pick, a Serbian film.
Right.
And I watched it last night, and it was rough a little bit.
You liked it.
I wouldn't say I liked it.
Your head no.
I know this is a podcast.
Okay.
They can't see it, but
no. Yeah. I'm just letting everyone know.
Okay.
Give it the best visuals possible.
So, a Serbian film released in 2010 is rated NC-17.
Right.
Makes plenty of sense.
This one's unrated, actually.
So
they couldn't even rate it.
That's even better to know.
Yeah.
So, according to Google, the synopsis of the movie, an aging porn star who's struggling to provide for his family agrees to make a film that, unbeknownst to him, contains themes of pedophilia, necrophilia, and may end with his death.
He's got a big old dick.
Yes, that is true.
Uh-huh.
Was that real?
I don't know. I would assume. I imagine it's like one of those Mark Wahlberg things.
I would hope so.
Boogie Nights.
For some of the aspects in the movie.
I feel like he's
I wouldn't want him to use his own.
But he couldn't have.
No,
that would really hurt.
So, IMDb has it rated 5.2 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
And Rotten Tomatoes 46%.
That's still pretty better than Batman v Superman.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything you want to add to that synopsis that we talked about?
Oh, there's so much. But I have a feeling you're going to get into it.
So, when I watched the movie, I wrote down some notes.
Okay.
So, we'll go through those now.
Sure.
First, I want to start with my last note. I feel like starting at the end might be the best idea. Sure. My last thought when I finished the movie was, no one should ever watch this movie.
Okay.
It is not very fun.
You didn't like it.
I mean, it's hard. Listen. I don't think anyone should watch it.
Okay.
But I kind of feel bad saying it. Because, I mean, it's a lot of effort they made. They made a movie.
It's a well-made movie.
It's well-made. It's well-shot. It's well-produced.
Yeah. The effects are great.
The effects are really good.
It's just the subject matter.
The subject matter is rough.
It's hard. get down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. It is hard to...
Yeah.
Oof. Boy. Okay.
There's so many parts you could be saying that about because there's so many.
Yeah. Okay. So let's
There's
just
such good.
let's
meat in this
just
movie.
run through my notes
So
that I took in order. Yes,
much.
a lot. So we'll just start. The first note I wrote: first person shown in the movie is topless already, right off the bat.
Well, that's funny because there's some similarities between yours and my movies.
Right.
So
I almost forgot about that.
We'll get into that.
We'll
later.
get into that. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the catchphrase from his movie, the first one that his son happens to be watching.
Yeah.
Because he just apparently leaves his movies.
Yeah, he's got his whole
is
like awards.
Right. So the line in the movie, one of the only English lines in the movie.
Yeah, it is. It is not in English.
No subtitles.
Yes.
Which is okay. Was "Baby, I'm going to fuck you up." Is his catchphrase from that movie?
I haven't seen it in a while. But yeah, that sounds
like
right.
the only English line in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Second note: one of his movies on his shelf was Apocalypse Now. Did you notice that?
I didn't. I want to see it.
Yes, it was the movie that he used. He put the money in. Remember, he took money out of a VHS tape in the very beginning.
Oh, that's where he hid his money or something. Okay.
Because he's given for his son's singing lessons or something like that.
Oh, all right.
It was Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now.
I appreciate puns.
It's funny.
It was pretty good.
It's real funny.
Yeah. And then there was that weird scene when they're tucking him in bed at night, the kid, and he's talking about having one of his first.
Oh yeah. Was he getting an erection?
It felt like it. It kind of felt like in South Park, the episode with Butters was like, "Hey, what's going on down there?"
Yeah.
But it's got to be weird that the first time that something like that happened involved his father. But
yeah, that's gotta be rough.
There's more.
But it makes sense, I guess.
Because I wrote at the time, I'm like, he's definitely going to discuss that with a therapist in 25 years. But
or is he?
Or is he? Because do we want to go into real deep spoilers with these movies?
There will be spoilers in these movies.
We'll try not to do crazy spoilers in case you.
We won't get too. By that you mean we won't get too graphic, or
well, do we just want to at the end just give away what happens at the end of the movie?
Yeah. Okay. There's a spoilery podcast.
So. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, some other notes I have here. The director of that new movie, because eventually he gets brought in. He's retired at this time.
Yeah.
And he gets brought in by an old co-star of his.
Yeah.
He's now associated with this new director
Mm-hmm.
who wants to make this movie. He called him an artist of fuck.
Yeah. Well, he kind of is if you think about it.
Yeah, just interesting phrase.
It is.
I've never heard. No, I don't know if that's something to do with translation, because I realize maybe some of the things.
I hope it's not, because
Right.
I kind of like it to be that.
Right. Okay, my next note here is saying I feel like he should have read that contract that he was.
He should have with a fine tooth comb.
He's meeting with the director, and the contract in front of him, and he's like, you don't need to read all that.
Do you think it was all in there though?
I don't, probably not, but still, I feel like you should.
He should have read the
he already
fine print.
brought up to him you're not going to know anything you're filming. I feel like you just walk away at that point.
Right.
I feel like he could have found a better job.
Well, it's the art of the fuck, Joe.
Yeah.
So
no, I understand.
It's art.
Right. Also, when I was watching this movie, the main character reminded me of someone,
Who?
but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Somebody we know? Or?
No, in popular culture.
Okay. David Spade?
I did, yeah. That was my main thought. I don't know if it was for sure him, but that was definitely an aspect. So I wrote down David Spadzia. Is that funny? Maybe Serbispade.
Oh, your puns on David Spade.
But then I came up with, Slavid Spade is probably the best.
Slavic Spade?
Slavic is a word to describe all that whole region, like Russia.
Oh, I get it.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, is that funny? Is there something there?
I think so.
Right.
I don't know if you got there yet.
Uh-huh.
But I'll think maybe while you're talking, if I think of one, I'll just say it.
Okay. But I think
it
Slavic
is funny.
Spade's probably the
Slavic
best.
Spade? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then when he was starting to get ready for that... So yeah, there was when he's getting ready for like he finally agreed to do this film, and he goes out into the woods and he starts jogging.
Yeah,
it was kind of like a Rocky montage.
It was, yeah.
And then like he was naked and you see like his
a Serbian David.
Yeah. Okay, we're done. All
right.
That. And then like you for the first time in the movie, you really see like his gigantic baby's arm that he's got down there.
Yeah, but it's not a baby's arm.
But it was during the Rocky montage, so I just wrote down cocky montage.
That's good.
Right?
That's good. I like that one more than Slavian or whatever you said.
Yeah. Then I said his brother, who I first didn't realize it was his brother until later on in the movie.
Did you read the subtitles?
Yeah, eventually when he said my brother.
Right.
But at first I just thought it was just his friend that showed up. Yeah. He kind of reminded me of Wayne Gretzky. He had a Wayne Gretzky
You would say that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The name got Milos?
Yeah, and then like...
He didn't remind you of any other hockey players? I feel like he just looks like standard hockey player.
No, he really didn't. It really was
not
the
body
David Spade.
form, just like the hair.
Yeah, it was the David Spade. The other guy just reminded me of Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
A younger Wayne Gretzky. Okay, moving on. So he starts filming the film at this point. This is the first experience with filming. And he walks into a building, and it says, Home for Abandoned and Orphaned Children.
Yeah, that's not a good
I wrote here, don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
Don't like where this is going.
And it's kind of creepy because they're filming and it's just like I think it's one guy or two guys.
They
just have a camera and they're like kind of like walking back.
And then there like involves like a weird teacher and then like a mother and then like a daughter.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Like I said, this is probably not a good description of the movie that we're doing right here, but don't watch it.
It's real. It's a fucked up movie.
It gets worse. Like we haven't really scratched the surface yet.
No.
Because also, like, Wayne Gretzky guy is, like, infatuated with his brother's wife.
Loves her.
Like, a lot. Which comes into later in the movie.
Yes, it does.
So let's see, where are we up to next? Oh, and the main character likes his American whiskey. Because he's constantly drinking Jack Daniels.
I honestly haven't seen the movie in like a year.
I wrote here is that I'm sure Jack Daniels is proud sponsor of this movie.
They have to be. Did you not see
that product placement? They're probably the happiest.
They had the Serbian film barrel. It was 3 years aged or whatever. Great.
Yeah. So he starts making this movie and he starts to see that this thing might not be exactly for him. And like he has some issues with like violence towards women in one of the scenes he's doing, and then that like 14-year-old girl is like watching.
Yeah, I don't know how old she was,
but
probably a suspicious age. You could say
it just wasn't good. Like, so the director tries to like encourage him, like this is going to be the future of pornography.
Yeah,
we are the cutting edge of what's going to be great for this
like
business.
The guy in 8mm.
Right. So he shows him a film that he made of his wife, who was the woman that was in some of the other scenes, with giving birth. Yeah. And you don't really see anything. You just hear the sounds of a baby being born.
Yeah.
But you're made to think that the guy who delivered the child is now doing terrible things with that child. Yeah,
he is.
And the main character storms out of the room, and the
he's
director
pissed because he does not like newborn porn.
Right, and then the director just keeps yelling out,
"Newborn porn! It's newborn porn!"
Yep. Could have been worse, but that was just
the unrated version. There's like an even more unrated version.
Why?
Because there's a little bit more of that scene.
Okay, well, I'm glad we don't have that version.
I know,
because I probably would have stopped the movie at that point.
Really?
Yeah, it was really good.
Because I was gonna buy the super unrated version or whatever it is, but I'm like, I got the fucked up one. I don't know if I need
okay, so we'll just move on from there.
Right.
So now he's really upset with this. He doesn't want any more part of this thing. So, but meanwhile, before he showed him the movie, the director. It's like, oh, have a drink with me. And he pours him, which I thought, again, was Jack Daniels, but I think it was something different. So he has that drink, he storms out, and then he's driving home, and he sees, like, this woman coming towards his car.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, in such a mood that he just has to, like, I don't know what term.
Fuck?
No, I wasn't going for that, but, like, I guess lustful, just very, like...
Oh, yeah, he's
insane.
Yeah.
And then it cuts there when she comes to his car when he's on his way home,
Yeah.
And then he wakes up in his bed. He's covered in blood.
Yeah.
And he notices on the alarm clock that it's 3 days later. So something bad obviously happened.
Yeah.
So now we kind of have a Tarantino moment where we flash forward, and now he has to go back and try to figure out what happened over these 3 days, and he starts collecting clues and goes back. He sees that
he's like a detective.
He sees that the director's driver's car is in his parking lot, and he has the key in his driveway. So he takes the car, he goes back to where they were shooting, no one's there. He finds tapes.
Right.
And then he sees the things he's able to watch on these tapes, the things that have happened the past 3 days.
Those 3 days.
But like, he doesn't just stay and watch them all. Like, he takes them to different locations. Which is kind of weird. Like, at first he starts watching them in like the room where the director was, showing him that other video. But then he goes like out into the woods.
Yeah.
But he watches the first video, and on that video, it's found out that they gave him bull Viagra.
Yeah.
And I just wrote bull Viagra ? Question mark. So that's a thing, and that's got to be terrible in your system.
It's gotta hurt. I feel like.
So then he's filming a scene, and it has now become a snuff film because he murders the person in the scene with him.
That's where he's on the bed, right?
Yeah. He gets like a big machete and just
he goes all ISIS
her in the back.
Really,
it was a little ISIS-y.
It was ISIS.
Yeah.
Maybe I wonder if this is where ISIS.
Probably.
They might be Serbian.
It's probably their Citizen Kane.
They might be. I could definitely see that.
So thank you for making me watch it.
Yeah.
And so then, like I was saying, when he's going around watching these tapes, at one point he goes in the woods and he's sitting by a tree, and I just wrote down, that's not the type of porn you want to find in the woods.
That is not,
That would be devastating for like a 13-year-old kid.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, her head's off now. Then there's another scene, which I don't think was him, because it was a guy with a mask. You don't think it's him, but I think it turns out to be another character.
Right.
And there's a woman who was trying to stop the director that you see a tape of. And now she's tied up in a room with no teeth. And she gets suffocated to death.
With what?
A penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that happens. So then after that, he eventually finds a video of him with that 14-year-old girl and then like an old lady. And she's trying to get him to like be with the 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And he eventually just doesn't want any part of that. So he threatens to cut off his own dick.
Yeah.
Which you see him holding a knife to.
Yeah.
Like
they got real close up with that.
Yeah, like a hostage situation.
Yeah.
And then he runs and jumps out of a window and starts running away. And
the guy's like, I know it's a real fucked up movie, but he's like a really good actor.
Right.
Like the acting was really good in this movie.
So he's running away. He's out of the house. And then I guess this isn't a video at this point. He's finally remembering some things. And like he goes into a store and he's trying to find porn mags because he's still like going crazy on this bull Viagra.
Yeah, he's pretty.
And then he calls his brother to come pick him up. And then he's waiting in an alley for his brother to come. And he sees two men harassing a prostitute. Yeah. And she's dressed rather like scantily clad. And so he still, I guess, on this bull Viagra, just starts jerking off. Yeah. In the alley.
Yeah, he is.
And then
hyped up.
And then he starts getting beat up by the two guys who are harassing the girl. The girl runs away. But then the director and his goons find him. Yeah. And they take him back for another shoot. They kill the prostitute, right? Like, don't they slit her throat? I don't think so. I thought she ran away. They kill the two guys. They just like twist their necks.
Okay, that's right.
So they twist those two guys' necks. Yeah.
One of them was the big dude with the glasses, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with like the neck tattoo.
Yeah. Which
at one point you see in the video that he's like passed out during these 3 days, and one of the cameramen is like fucking him.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was fun. So then now here comes the climax of the scene. They bring him back for one last scene, and he sees two people laying on a bed. Yeah. Naked.
At this point, down. Like you know that I'm pretty okay with like movies. It was at this point where I'm kind of like,
so then he goes into the room and they tell him to pick the first one, which is a smaller person. Yeah. And then another person, the same hooded guy from earlier with the toothless scene, comes in. Mm-hmm. And he starts going at it with the other person laying on the bed.
Slightly bigger. And then it's revealed that the guy in the hood is his brother. Mm-hmm. And that the person that he's having sex with is his wife. Yeah, the main character.
The main character's wife. And then the other person is his son.
It is his son.
And then the camera comes in close to all four of them, and the director says, "A Serbian family."
Yeah.
And then at that point...
Did you not turn it off, then?
No, I figured it was almost over, so I figured I'd try to finish it. So at that point, pretty much everyone gets murdered.
Yeah.
The wife kills the brother.
Yeah, she smashes his face in.
She's all covered in blood. Yeah, smashes his face in. The other guy kills a dude with his dick. Jams it into his... the guy was missing an eye.
Yeah, the guy with the sunglasses and the neck tattoo, he was missing an eye, and he literally skull fucks him.
To death. So then everyone's dead except for the main character, his wife, and the son. Mm-hmm. And I wrote here, well, there's no future after that.
There's not a part 2, no.
There is no way you can live on from that. So at this point, he stashes them away because he's still kind of out of it. Yeah. And then he goes home. Yeah. And then he wakes up, and that's where we picked up 30 minutes earlier in the movie when it was the 3 days later. So then they go home, and then he goes back and gets them. Yeah. And then they hugged. They were cool, and I wrote the power of hugging it out. I guess that kind of worked for a while. So then they go back home, but then they decide, I guess, there's no living.
There's no coming back from this.
So they come up with this interesting way of killing themselves. I was going to say they need a Chris Benoit moment, but they didn't do that.
It wasn't as messy.
They lay in a bed together.
Mm-hmm. Both parents on their sides and the kids in the middle. And they're hugging.
They're hugging. Sort of. And then Milos, the guy, takes a gun, puts it to his wife's back, and shoots all of them.
All 3.
At one time.
Yeah.
And I just wrote one family, one bullet.
Yes.
Good way to sum it up. But then I wrote, oh God, why? Uh-huh. Because the very last scene of the movie is there's a guy that you see earlier in the movie kind of watching Milos.
Yeah, he's coming out of the director's house.
It turns out he was actually the real director of the movie.
Well, he was commissioning everything.
Commissioning it. And at this point, he shows up after the family's dead with 2 camera guys. Well, two other guys, one's running a camera.
They're dressed all kind of as the same henchmen from before.
And then the one guy unzips his pants, and the guy who commissioned the movie says, "Start with the little one."
Yeah. And then it ends.
And that's when I said no one should watch this movie, because that was awful. And I feel like at this point we should move on. Because we're about 20 minutes into this discussion, and we need to go to another movie.
You want to get the
And I feel like we don't want anyone listening more to this. So so that's that movie. Never watch that movie.
It's a good movie.
It's not. It's made but it's if you have problems with things,
if you don't like seeing tremendous, intense violence against women and children, men too, right? It's probably not the movie for you.
And just very graphic,
sexually and violently awful.
Okay, so we're going to move on to a lighter topic, which is weird thinking that a lighter movie would start off with a pretty horrific murder, but it's lighter compared to the last movie.
It's pretty
So the next movie is 2000's Shaft, starring Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
Rated R. The Google description is, crooked cops on the take, small-time drug lords, sleazy informers, and sadistic rich kids ready to kill. For police Detective John Shaft, it's just another night in the underbelly of New York City. Another shift facing down cops and criminals who want him dead, and a legal system that thrives on money, not justice. Mm-hmm. Directed by John Singleton, who's a famous director.
What else
Boys in the Hood, I believe.
Oh, he did Boys in the Hood? Okay.
Yeah, a very famous director.
Mekhi Phifer's in it, right? In the very beginning?
Yeah, Mekhi Phifer. He's the one who gets murdered. We'll get into that. Yeah. $107.2 million at the box office. And in 2000, that's adjusted for inflation, that's probably got to be pretty good.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so you want to start?
Well, a Serbian film, within the first 3 minutes of this movie, I wrote down "Funkin' Tits."
Yes, it starts off with the classic Shaft theme.
Yeah,
that everyone is
familiar
with.
And then he's having sex.
Yes.
With I think it was multiple women.
I think so. Not as graphic as...
It wasn't as graphic, though. They did focus right on a movie, though.
Yeah, and it was kind of like a different color. Like, it wasn't clear.
Mm-hmm. But I noticed that this theme is used throughout the whole entire movie. And it's done by crazy nut job Isaac Hayes, who I completely lost all respect for.
Right.
Being that he left South Park for making fun of Scientology, so he's kind of just a nutbag in my eyes now. Another thing I noticed throughout the whole entire movie is there are a lot of people in this movie.
Yes.
There are so many people. Like, every time I wrote down a few people, and after I wrote their names, a bunch of exclamation points.
Mm-hmm.
So
your notes in order, like mine are? Or in movie
order?
They're
kind of in order. Because the first name I wrote down is Kruger. Because Mr. Kruger's in it from Seinfeld.
He's John Shaft's boss.
Yeah. Who's kind of a racist.
Yeah. Oh, he's very much a racist.
Yeah.
So do you want to start with the first scene, with the
first
Christian Bale scene?
Yeah, they're, it opens with, sex, first off.
Right. But then it cuts to...
Then they're at this club, and there's been a murder.
Like a very white, fancy
bar
fancy
restaurant. White club, yes.
Right.
And there's this bunch of people outside. There's a body on the ground of Mekhi Phifer, who has been bludgeoned in the head by somebody. So John Shaft, Samuel Jackson's character, goes into the bar. He's kind of like looking around. He spots Toni Collette, and I think she like kind of looks over at another person,
and she has like blood on her face.
Clearly, you can see blood on her face. I wrote down. I'm like, why wouldn't she just wipe the blood on her face? And then he doesn't like. She doesn't know, I guess.
Yeah, but it's fairly obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty kicked on. So he walks over to Christian Bale, who's on the phone, and Shaft is like, I gotta talk to you. And he points his hand up at him, like, hold on a sec. And Shaft grabs his phone and turns it off. And Shaft sees blood on his finger. So he's kind of like, alright, well, this is the guy that did it. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of going back and forth. He's kind of admitting that he did it, but it was like they were going at it in the club, Mekhi Phifer and Christian Bale. So Shaft punches Christian Bale in the face because Mekhi Phifer's like dying on a stretcher.
He starts to seize. Starts to have a seizure.
And he's like, homeboy's got rhythm.
Yep. Right. So,
and he fucking punches him in the face.
Right. And like I said, I've seen this movie many times. So I didn't watch it recently, but I can pretty much go through the opening scene. So basically, Shaft is now starting to get like an account of what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
And so basically, Mekhi Phifer comes in earlier on in the night.
Yeah, when he's talking to who was Mekhi Phifer's girlfriend?
I don't know her name.
She's like, isn't that Laura Linney?
I don't think so. It wasn't her. It was some actress. Their friend, though, the other friend that they're with, the woman, is Elizabeth Banks.
I thought so.
Yes.
Okay.
So this movie has fairly amount of people in it before they were famous.
So she's like, she's telling Shaft like what happened. That Christian Bale was being a dick, talking about 40s and shit.
And didn't you think he was a little bit overly like? Is anyone really?
He was like joke racist.
Racism is obviously still a problem.
It's not, But
is anyone really that?
He was like he was like Dave Chappelle being a racist.
Like, the guy didn't do anything to him. He just a guy walked into a club and he just kept saying, "I eat dog. There's no 40s or malt liquor in here, dog. I
wrote down. I love how he says "I eat," but he felt like Clayton Bigsby from Chappelle's show. Like he was just like
unnecessarily. But like unnecessary, like just
out of nowhere,
0 to 60.
Yeah. So, they're outside. He sees his boss is Mr. Kruger from Seinfeld. So as this whole scene's going on, I just keep doing Kruger lines. Like, I'm not too worried about it. Look how many times I can spin, Shaft. So, one thing I wrote down, and I guess they did it because of the times, I really would have liked to have seen Samuel Jackson in a fro.
Right. But for Samuel Jackson, like, he's usually bald in his movies. There's a few, like Pulp Fiction, he has a little bit of the hair.
He does.
But I feel like at this point, they were going with straight on bald Samuel Jackson.
Right. Which, I'm like, I understood. I just, for my own pleasure, I would have liked to have seen him with a fro.
Okay. So what's your next note? I think we pretty much just described that first scene.
Well, this is something we talked about the other night. This isn't really anything to the movie, but I don't love Samuel Jackson like you do.
Uh-huh.
I like him for a different reason.
Right.
That he looks like a pug.
Right. He does look
like it's that shirt is just the best. So, oh yeah, when he's leaving like the crime scene, he's just walking between traffic. Like it's oncoming traffic, and he's just walking through.
And of course, you need the classic action movie line where he's he punches him first or something like that. And then
he's like, "Oh, you're in trouble now.
You're suspended for what?" And then he punches him again for that, and then he walks away. And then Christian Bale just goes, "He broke my nose."
Yeah, he broke my nose. So Bale set it like $200,000,
right, and he's mad because they shouldn't be bad.
Yeah,
and he's like, "You have to submit your passport," but he's rich. He could probably get with it.
So I think Shaft is in like at work or something, and he gets a call from Christian Bale saying like, "Yo, thanks for breaking my nose.
I'm skiing
in Switzerland right now." And then it's 2 years later, so he's been there for a while.
But don't forget the classic line, which I've always it's always been stuck in my head. "See you when I see you, slick."
I've never heard you say that.
Christian Bale says that line.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've never heard you.
It's been because, like I said, this movie's been seen a lot by members of my family. Especially my uncle loves this movie. So we quoted a lot, and that's one of the...
Oh, really?
We'll go through some of our favorite quotes. That's one of
them. Then it kind of... Like, 2 years later, they're doing a raid in this neighborhood.
So he's now moved on to, like, a new department.
Yeah. This was the most unorganized raid I've ever seen in my life.
They don't know how to open doors.
They don't know how to open doors.
Luckily, the guy happens to open the door.
Yeah, there's this big dude who just opens a door, and they... It's like they were all just going to run on top of each other when they're breaking in. And, like, they're kind of pointing their guns over each other's heads. So it's just not safe.
Right.
So they're all... And they're, like, arresting everybody. And Shaft sees this one dude run out. And he goes on a foot chase. And the whole time, Samuel Jackson's like, "Motherfucker, I do not like to run."
And he's just running after this guy. Yeah, to jump through windows.
If he does not like running,
he gets a garbage can thrown at him.
Yeah. I don't think that was a real garbage can.
Probably not.
It looked real CGI'd.
Yeah.
I don't know if CGI'd, it's a word. But.
So he catches the guy.
Yeah, he catches the guy. Like, the guy jumps through a window, and he's like, says something like, "Motherfucker, like, chase me now," or something. So he catches up to him, he punches him in the face, and they're, like, arresting him. And then as he looks up, he sees Jeffrey Wright's character, Peoples Hernandez, eating food, and Samuel Jackson's like, "You getting a good look, motherfucker," or something like that.
Yeah, so he throws a basketball at him.
He grabs a basketball from a guy and whips it at him.
Yeah, and he whips it, and he spills his Chinese food, like, all
over his 200 bread count. Yeah.
228.
Yeah. And so as he's coming out, I'm like, I wrote down, "Bubs!"
Yes.
So,
Andre
Royce, who I found out his name in the movie is Tattoo.
Yeah, Spider Tattoo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they come out, they're arguing, and Peoples Hernandez puts like
a finger
on him. Samuel Jackson's like, "Oh,
assaulted an
officer."
Arrest him, trumped up charges.
Yeah. And he finds an ice pick on him, which comes in handy multiple times in this movie.
Right, comes in later. So I guess, do you have any more notes, or do you want to jump to the next major part of the movie where Walter Wade comes back, which is Christian Bale's character?
Yeah. He's like, well, there's still a lot more people. The Kima. I wrote Kima.
Well, she comes up later because now Walter Wade, you find out that he's coming back. Shaft finds out he's coming back.
Right.
There's also a scene in the police department where the one cop is very racist and he calls cornbread.
Yeah, I thought more was going to happen with that, but they ended up kind of being buddies. But something I noticed when he comes back from Switzerland, like Samuel Jackson gets a tip from Busta Rhymes, who was also in this movie.
Right, he's like his informant.
Yeah, driver. So he, like, I guess Busta Rhymes kidnaps the limo driver or something?
Yeah, they tie up a limo driver.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there with no clothes on.
No clothes on. Busta Rhymes waving his predator hair.
Yeah, he's like, cold, chilly, want a jacket or something?
And then there's all these paparazzi and everything and, like, camera crews. not really paparazzi.
Right, but like news people.
Yeah, and I'm like, nobody's recognizing the naked limo driver. Nobody sees a problem here.
So basically, Walter Wade tries to sneak back in. Shaft arrests him.
Yeah.
Ties him up in his limo. Not ties him up, handcuffs him.
Yeah.
Also, did you notice that the guy who was operating the plane door when he landed was Doug Hutcherson, who is Percy from Green Mile? And
Really?
It was him in a very small cameo.
Did you know that?
Did you know that? It was him.
I also, like, after I saw Kima, I literally said, why a reunion? Like, I actually said that.
So then Shaft arrests Walter Wade, and he has, like, a surprise party thrown at him at the Lennox Lounge.
And then this is where you meet Richard Roundtree, the original Shaft.
And he's playing, like, a private detective.
Yeah, Private Dick.
Right. And he's not playing, obviously not Shaft, because...
He's named, actually, John Shaft in the movie.
Is he?
So his last name is Shaft.
Who, Samuel Jackson? Or
no, Richard Roundtree. Huh. So he's actually playing.
They're both John Shaft?
Yes, there are two John Shafts.
That's weird.
Shaftception.
So then they have a party, and there's like this whole ruse that they do where Lawrence Taylor, the football player, is involved.
Is that who though? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's hitting on his girlfriend, and Lawrence Taylor gets really mad, and he like pushes him into doors, and it ends up being like a surprise.
Yeah, he goes through the doors, and this people's like, "Surprise! You got him, man!"
Yeah. And Richard Roundtree's like, at this part, Richard Roundtree's saying like, you know, you got him, but Samuel Jackson sensed like a butt something. Uh-huh. So as they're watching the TV, like they show him like getting arraigned and putting in like getting ready for court or whatever. Christian Bale's character and Richard Roundtree's like, that's the butt what? So they're in court the next day,
right?
And
also at this point, Samuel Jackson goes home with Kima.
He does go home with... Well, they don't show that.
But they do go home.
That's something else I wrote down. He's not much of a sex machine.
No. Well, like, it's implied that he does... There's a scene later where he's, like, with another woman. Well, like, he's, like, Tuesdays and every Thursdays. You know that scene?
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen... Not that I want to see Samuel Jackson having sex.
Right.
But I admittedly haven't seen the original Shaft. And I feel like there's probably more sex in that movie.
Could be. So they're in court the next day.
They're at the court next day. Everybody thinks, like, oh, he's not going to get bail. Like, you know, he fucked up. He jumped bail for 2 years in Switzerland. So they set bail at $1 million. Everybody in the courtroom freaks out.
Yeah, especially, what's his name? Blanking on it. Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, he's yelling out,
how about no bail?
Yeah, no bail. How about no bail?
Right, and of course you see the mother of Mekhi Phifer. She's upset.
But there's a part, I think it's in the the first time he gets... Yeah. Like, Shaft just sees her and, like, hugs her. Like, they've had no interaction.
Well, you figure there was probably behind-the-scenes stuff where they met.
I guess so.
Because, like, there's, like, between arrest and trial, it takes a while. But that was arraignment, I guess. But
yeah.
He probably, like, notified or whatever. But then at this point, Shaft is mad that there's bail.
Yeah.
So he stands up, takes out his badge, and whips it across the courthouse.
Yeah, and it gets stuck behind the judge.
Right. And then he walks out of the courthouse with, like, triumphant music blasting. Well, not triumphant yet, but, like, and then his boss comes to him and wants his gun.
Yeah.
And so he, like, pulls out the gun they think he's going to shoot at.
He's like, don't worry about it. He just gives him his gun.
Yeah, because he sees Walter coming out of the courthouse and he pulls out his gun and they get scared and then he just hands him the gun.
Yeah.
So then, like, Christian Bale's character's all smirking. He's like, I punked you out or whatever.
And this is kind of when... This is when Christian Bale goes into, like, the holding cell with people.
Right, but at this point, they're walking down the stairs, and Christian Bale thinks he's won. But then Samuel Jackson shows Toni Collette's driver's license. Like, I still have her.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
You didn't realize that? He's walking down, and he shows Christian Bale that he has her license with his blood on it.
Yeah.
With the blood on it.
Yeah, from his
And then that's when the triumphant Shaft music starts playing.
Right. When did he meet Peoples Hernandez?
This is coming up. So
that didn't happen
Not yet.
So
Because Peoples was arrested the day before.
Right.
Actually, it might have happened. I think it actually might have happened. We did skip over it. It might have happened the night before the arraignment.
Okay.
Because he's in holding cell when he gets arrested.
Exactly.
And Peoples Hernandez is still there because that happened earlier that day.
And they're kind of talking with each other,
Some guy tries to steal Christian Bale's shoes.
Yeah.
And he beats him up.
Fit you.
Yeah, so then he punches him in the face.
Yeah, he punches him in the nuts. Then kicks him.
Face. And then Christian Bale is looked at kind of like a tough guy.
Yeah.
So then he's talking to Peoples. He's like, how'd you get that name, man? Did you take care of your peoples?
Yeah. I love his racist accents. They're great.
And
so
then
that's when he hears about Toni Collette and He's talking with, I think, his lawyer and his dad.
Uh-huh.
And I guess his dad's new wife or girlfriend, like, wearing Christian Bale's mom's jewelry.
Right.
Christian Bale's not having that.
Yep.
So he, like, takes all her jewelry, and he knows Peoples Hernandez, so he brings him the jewelry.
Because this time they're both out of prison.
Yeah.
But also going back to when they meet in prison, there's a few great lines. For some reason, Peoples asks Walter if he likes golf, and he just says, Tiger Woo.
Yeah, Tiger Woo. Yeah, he didn't say the T.
Yeah.
Tiger Woo.
And then it says he's had money longer than train smoke, but he's never been on a plane. Like, these are just some classic Peoples Hernandez lines.
Right. You've been talking up Peoples Hernandez for some time now.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he has really weird lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, just him and Christian Bale meet at this point, and then Christian Bale is meeting with his dad when he gets out of prison.
Yeah.
Realize they need to find this waitress.
When was the last time you saw this movie?
It's been on TV a lot.
Has it really?
So I've been watching bits and pieces of it. So, but I've seen it a lot. So like, I know a lot of this movie.
I've seen Serbian Film maybe like 4 times.
Right. That's way too much.
Yeah, and that is admittedly too many times to watch that. But
so continue. So he takes all the jewelry.
He goes to Peoples Hernandez saying, like, it's been appraised for $40,000. I need you to find Toni Collette and kill her, basically.
Right. So
a lot of people die in this movie. Like, there's 2 cops. They're like they're bad, I guess.
Yeah, you first meet them at that raid at the beginning.
Yeah, in the very beginning, wherever it's the worst raid ever.
Right.
So
they turn out to be dirty cops.
Yeah, they're dirty cops, and they're getting, I think, $10,000 a piece or something like that
to find Toni Collette.
Yeah. Something else I noticed in this movie: Christian Bale walks around a lot, and he's pretty famous right now, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Nobody recognizes him.
No. Well, I mean, he is wearing his hat. And, over his face, and that's when he first meets with Peoples. He said, what are you, a fucking duck hunter?
Yeah.
Because he's dressed ridiculous for being in, Harlem area of the city. So then basically, he tries to hire Peoples to find the waitress and kill her. But Peoples wants him to sell drugs for him.
And he's like, no fucking way.
Right. So then...
But I found that scene funny, because they're in there, making the women. And I think it's from Scarface, where the women are processing the drugs.
Yeah.
But they're naked.
Yeah, so they can't steal anything.
Yeah, but in Shaft, they had
underwear,
bras and
it was kind of like...
It was like a PG version of Scarface. So
now everyone's really looking for Toni Collette. Even Shaft is trying to track her down.
Yeah.
And he tries to go to her house with Busta Rhymes, who pretends to be Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah, he doesn't have a check either, so...
And he's not, and he can't say her last name, which is Diane Palmieri. And
he's Palmieri. And her 2 brothers, they were, stereotypical...
Typical Italian New Yorkers?
Yeah, a big, beefy Italian guys, don't fuck with my sister.
I think Nicky and Mikey?
Yeah. Remember we were talking about that a while ago. Where you were telling me about that scene, and they're 2 Italian brothers.
Yeah.
What are their names? And I'm like, I asked you what are their names, and you're like, I think you could remember one. I'm like, the other one's Nicky, isn't it? And you're like, I think it is. So,
and Shaft is trying to do other ways to track her down. He meets with another waitress, and that's when, her son is, hanging around with this drug dealer.
Yeah,
so Shaft
she was in the very beginning of the movie, right?
So then, he's like, yeah, I can give you some information, but you need to help my boy. He's hanging out with this bad crowd. So Shaft just beats this guy senseless.
Yeah, in that scene, he, points a gun at people.
Yeah, he points guns at kids. And he beats a guy senseless, and then cops show up, but they recognize John Shaft. They nod, and he just keeps driving.
Yeah.
So, and now Shaft is trying to screw with Peoples.
Yeah. It's basically like cat and mouse.
So he does this thing where, because I think he realizes that the 2 cops are dirty.
Yeah.
So, he steals the jewels from Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And so now Christian Bale has no money to pay, so now he's kind of forced to do the drug thing.
To do the drugs.
But then when Shaft steals the jewels from him, pretend to be a robber, he hides it under the cops' car, the dirty cops. So then So then, he like switches out his car with his friend. Remember that
Yeah.
the guy who wants to be a cop because he likes donuts.
Yeah. It's like I got milk too. It's like who drinks milk? That's not like right at the fridge. Like who buys milk to drink in their car?
Right. So then Shaft pulls this big prank on them, and like he gets them all mad at each other. But then they kind of realize that.
Yeah, because I think it's people in Hernandez's brother sees Shaft drive away, and like they kind of break up this argument, the cops and Peoples Hernandez and his peoples. And
then also I know
I just saw Shaft.
We're also kind of jumping around a little bit, but there's one part I want to hit on before we go.
Oh yeah.
When Walter goes back after his jewels are stolen, and he meets with Peoples, now Peoples has the leverage to let it make himself drunk.
Oh, he shits?
He's talking to him and he shits.
Where did
I have notes on
that?
You actually hear, like...
Yeah, you hear the little...
Yep, and he says, keep in touch, and he throws him a beeper.
Oh, and well, Christian Bale says, you gotta be shitting me.
Yeah.
And they just glance right over that. Like, and I'm surprised there wasn't, like, a pause on that.
Right.
Peoples Hernandez loves ice picks.
He does.
That's his primary weapon.
Right, because after Shaft screws with them, with the cops, and gets them to almost fight with each other, he threatens a cop with an ice pick.
Yeah.
The dirty cop. And then when they find out Shaft's involved, they go after him.
Yeah.
At this point, Shaft has tracked down Diane Palmieri.
Yeah.
And he goes there and tries to help her.
Yeah.
But somehow Peoples is able to find him right away.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
And then there's a shootout in the street where Shaft kills like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah. He's killing so many people in this movie.
And then... So he kills about 4 or 5 people, and then in the mayhem, they get Diane Palmieri. Her brothers show up.
Yeah. Nicky and Mikey.
Right. And then in this whole mayhem, people's brother gets shot in the head.
Yeah,
which he's real devastated.
He's like, that's what brought him.
So he goes out in the street and starts stabbing himself with the ice pick.
Did he? I didn't even realize that. Oh my god, no! That's so
he's like, you killed my brother, and he's stabbing himself.
Oh, I thought he was just getting pumped up.
No, he was. You could the blood was coming out.
I just assumed he
had the ice pick. He was stabbing himself with the ice pick.
Oh my god!
So at this point, he stabs one of the brothers. I think kills him. One of Diane Palmieri's brothers.
No, they don't kill him. He shows up later. I think when they're at court.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, at the very end.
Anyway, so
he stabs him in the back with an ice pick.
Yeah, and but he's still kind of somewhat fairly wounded in the middle of the street. And the one brother, Diane, Shaft, and Busta Rhymes drive off. Mm-hmm. But like at first, they're upset that his brother has been stabbed. But then later on in the day, they seem kind of cool with it. Like they kind of forget that like one of the brothers.
They end up being pretty alright.
So they go to Busta Rhymes' house, and it's like a pigsty.
And then that. People Hernandez eventually catches up with them. And then there's this big, gigantic shootout where everybody's dying.
Right. It doesn't. And Vanessa Williams, because she's in the movie,
she's his, like
Shaft's
not a partner, but...
Yeah, she's like one of the other cops, and she's friendly with him. She gets shot by the dirty cops, but she's wearing a vest.
Yeah. They ask her, like, are you wearing a vest? Mm-hmm. And she kind of gives this, like, no. Yeah. Like, she kind of, like, looks side to side. Right. So they shoot her.
So then at this point, Shaft is pretty much save the day because he stops Peoples Hernandez. Right. Peoples gets killed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the two dirty cops, like, get shot so quick. Like, Vanessa Williams has a gun pointed to the back of one of their heads after, like, they find Shaft. So they just have a gun right to the back of, she has a gun right to the back of, you know the cops' names?
I forget.
Yeah, one of them's like he was the dad in Night
Yeah, both of them are fairly recognizable actors. You'd see them in other stuff.
Samuel Jackson's just like, do it. And just blasts this cop right in the back of the head. And just fucking head explodes.
So they stop Peoples.
There's this kind of big standoff at a pier or something like that.
I haven't seen the end of the movie in a while. So
there was like a shipping yard, and there he's got again an ice pick to Toni Collette's because he eventually gets Toni Collette an ice pick to her neck, and he's like stabbing her a little bit.
Right.
And Samuel Jackson's like getting mad, and he's like, you bite me one on one, and people in there is getting kind of pumped up. So he's like kind of putting up his dukes, and. They're just about to fight, and Peoples Hernandez goes for a gun, and Samuel Jackson pulls one out and then shoots him.
The classic. We're going to go man to man, but really we both have
we both have guns, so we're going to be pussies about this, so we're going to just shoot each other.
Right. So then he kills Peoples.
Kills Peoples.
And so now Peoples is gone. Walter really has no way to stop
Yeah.
Toni Collette. So now she's going to testify in court.
Yeah.
The mother. So now we're back. After all this, we finally are back in court.
Yeah.
It's the day she's going to testify.
Yeah.
Shaft's consoling her because she's nervous.
Yeah,
she freaks out when he comes out of the window.
And then Mekhi Phifer's mother is,
Right.
like, kind of there, and she's,
Right.
like, walking up, and cops are stopping her.
Right.
And Shaft's like, no, let her through.
Right. They don't check her.
They do not check her. So Christian Bale shows up, and he's kind of walking in, and it felt very Lee Harvey Oswald-y.
Almost, yeah.
And it was like Jack Ruby was walking up, and you see this gun, and it just shoots like 4 times at Christian Bale, and he's like, no,
and he's murdered.
He gets murdered,
by
and then
the mother.
they show the gun in the arm, and it's Mekhi Phifer's mother, and Shaft just kind of has his face like, oh, jeez, we would have got him in court.
Yeah, so then they arrest the mother, and that's pretty much the end of that movie, right? There's
he starts up again because this woman's getting beat, and he wants to take care of it.
Right, and then there's a scene, because he's about to walk out. I think he's going to retire, or he's coming back.
He's like, for old time's sake.
And then he sees the woman's all beat up and he feels bad for her. And then now, like, Busta Rhymes is like his driver, and he gets him a new car. He's like, oh, this is mine?
Yeah. He's like, I want to take pictures of the women that are getting cheated on, or something like that.
And then there's just a classic New York City overhead shot of him driving through the city.
Like a romantic comedy.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums up the movie Shaft.
Yeah.
Is there any other thoughts you had? Any other notes we didn't get to talk to that you wrote down?
I don't think so. Well, I thought they said that Andre Royo, his name is Tattoo.
Right, and at one point we kind of skipped over. He gets thrown out of a window.
he gets thrown through a window because
he's actually John Shaft's informant.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think we should probably wrap up because we're running a little bit long.
Yeah. It's way longer than we intended it to be. Well, next one will probably be way shorter.
Yeah.
Because I'm frankly tired of talking.
Yeah, so that was the first episode You Should Watch.
You might just want to do this by yourself because you seem to know a lot more about this movie. I admittedly was playing with a Transformer while watching this.
Yeah, and I knew there was parts of Shaft I wanted to hit. Yeah. So I made sure we got to those parts.
Yeah. Well, we're testing the waters.
It's a work in progress. Hopefully it'll be better.
It's a pet project.
We hope people were actually able to listen to all this. Probably not. It's
right.
a little tedious.
I'm bored myself.
Yep. So we're going to stop the recording now. Right. And we're going to figure out if there's going to be another episode of this. Hopefully.
Probably will. There probably will.
If only just for our own fun.
Yes. Joe, you want a cookie?
Don't steal other people's stuff.
We're good here.
We're good. Do you want to come up with a sign-off? Like a catchphrase? You what?
You got it. You watch. Do you like it?
The end.
We're good.